It is 5:31. We'll call the meeting of a regular meeting of the East Lyme Board of Finance to order. Those who can, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Those of you who have been watching closely will notice that we have changed chair positions based on requests to have the chair and vice chair, myself and Rich, in the center of the meeting, so we are sitting in the center. First item of business is delegations. Any members of the public wish to come up and speak? Nobody is taking that option, so we'll move to approval of the minutes from our March 11th regular meeting. Are there any? Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the March 11th regular meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the March 11th, 2026 Board of Finance regular meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Next, we have the special meeting minutes from March the 16th. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the March 16th Board of Finance special meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes from March 16th, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Third set of minutes is the March 23rd, 2026 special meeting of the Board of Finance. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Moved and seconded to approve the meeting minutes from March 23rd, 2026 of the Board of Finance. This was a special meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we are at our regular meeting, so we are back to reports. First Selectman report. Dan, please.
There we go. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I will have a report on claims of potential litigation in executive session at the end of the meeting, but of some relevance right now is the I-95 Route 161 project. The last large pieces of steel should be installed this week, and why that's relevant to us is that affects the overtime budget for the fire service when their construction bifurcates the town north and south. They have to put on more firefighters in Flanders and in Niantic in case there is a fire or an emergency. So that will be ending this week. So that's good news for helping to maintain and keep the overtime budget in check. So I thought I'd bring that to the board's attention. Other than that, I don't have anything further this evening for the board until later.
Thank you, Dan. Board of Education had the option of coming tonight and addressing us, and they are not here, so we'll move past that item. Finance Director report. Kevin, please.
Yeah, so I'm just going to keep this brief tonight. I did provide year-to-date budget reports last week to the board. Those will be more refined and reviewed by the Finance Department when we start our third quarter budget reviews in the next few weeks. I did provide tonight a handout for our tax collections, so we can see how we're doing with relation to the prior year on taxes. So it's the second page in your packet there. Kim, I can see in my back there's two packets behind you. Grab that one, and then at the end, all the way to the right,
Is this the right one?
Yep. So what I did was before I provided two papers, instead I just snipped them into one document. So on the top, you can see that is as of March 31st, 2026. At the bottom is as of March 31st. For a second, we brought that down. And you can see, so to date, we've collected 98.66%. How does this relate to prior years? Last year we were at 98.73. Some of the supplemental motor vehicles, things like that can affect that rate. So what I like to dig into the larger one. If you go through the MPRSX listing on the left there, the big one is R, that is real estate. So we can see this year we have collected 99.16% on real estate if you go all the way to the right. Last year, what were we? 99.17. We are 1 basis point different from last year. That's pretty consistent, right? That's like one person probably, timing of like 1 or 2 payments, not very much. So overall, collection rate is on track to come into that 99.1%, which we budgeted. So just keep in mind, some things to note here. We look at motor vehicle supplemental. So far today, we've collected $660,000. And when we relate this back to the budget and we go into revenues, we're budgeting motor vehicle supplementals at $700,000. So we're right there. I mean, we haven't collected that to date. So we've really pushed that line to its, we pushed that up, right? Did that at the Board of Selectmen level. So with that, I know we have, last week we updated the fund balance projections as well. They've been holding steady. I do anticipate using the majority of that this year. Last year we used half of that. I'll have more information in about 2 weeks once we conduct these third quarter budget reviews of the departments. And then there may be an announcement regarding the spending freeze. I see there's some department heads behind me, so we won't talk about that just yet, but there may be an announcement in the next week or two about that spending freeze. So trending well into the year. There are a few pressure points, but nothing that's glaring besides a few items we have already identified.
Thank you. Any questions for Kevin? Okay, great. Thanks, Kevin. On to old business. Our first item of old business on the agenda is listed as fiscal year 27 Board of Selectmen operating budget presentation. I'd like to propose a motion that we modify this to fiscal year 2027 Board of Finance operating budget deliberations. This was a copy and paste error, and it should have been written the way I just stated it. So anybody want to entertain that motion?
Or second.
Thank you. So moved and seconded to change the old business first agenda item to fiscal year 2027 Board of Finance operating budget deliberations. Any discussion? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So now that we have changed it to finance operating budget deliberations, let's dive into those. First item that I wanted to cover tonight was the follow-up on services to the community. I think you've received, Kevin, some updates on the questions we had the other day about when the actual applications came in relative to the deadline?
I did. They're sitting on my printer. I just remembered them on your packet. Hold 1 second.
Okay.
We'll wait.
I was going to cover town hall security cameras next.
Sir? Thank you.
You want to project this?
Yeah.
So Barry, we're going to project, and you won't be able to ask a question, but after he's done projecting, you could ask a question.
All right. So, you want to switch to PIP? Okay. So going through the list, the Daigle Foundation was a little late in its submission in February. To date, Sandy Anderson, the first selectman's executive assistant, and I went through our emails and everything, and if Bluter has submitted something, I do not have a copy of it. Karen Share, November 2025, I had correspondence with I think it's the finance person over there about their $990 and the $2,500, the $2,250 annual allotment. Same with the Giving Garden, multiple emails with them prior to the deadline. New London Hospitality Shelter, I don't have anything in my records of them sending anything. East Lyme, Nyack Main Street, they came in on the deadline. EL Beautification has been kind of dissolved and rolled into the Nyack Main Street. It looks like the police cadets, I have emails with him on the 21st, but it looks like the Excel file was submitted on the 23rd. So I'm just giving you all the dates. Pollinator Pathways, I don't have anything from Marjorie Meekoff on that. So maybe, if they mailed something in, another department may have grabbed it. So I'm not too sure there. Safe Futures on the deadline, January 20th. The Sexual Assault Crisis Center of Eastern Connecticut on the 21st. I do not have anything for the Soup Line Kitchen, the Shoreline Soup Kitchen. I did not have anything for TVCCA, it looked like. And I didn't have anything for the Southeastern Cultural Coalition. We did get the UCFS, United Family Community Services, on February 5th, per the stamp on it. And then the one item I just want everyone to know, it came in the mail, and I didn't save the we didn't save the envelope, and I didn't see a stamp on it, so we're not quite sure the date on it, but it's the East Lyme Student Government Scholarship. So I just wanted the board to know that. So a few we haven't gotten. Majority
Thank you.
were within the date. A few were submitted late. So
Thank you. So the total of the amounts requested is now $19,940. If I'm reading this correctly, the Board of Selectmen previously approved $22,500, and it looks like if our deadline was end of January, only one of them definitely was after the deadline. That would be the Brian Daigle Foundation. And unless the United Community Family Services is February 5th?
correct.
Okay, so that $2,000 and the Daigle Foundation of $1,500 request are after our deadline,
Yeah, and these.
and we're not sure about the East Lyme Student Government Scholarship.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean,
So-
I have the request for the $1,000. It just doesn't have a date. It doesn't. It's not like there's no
Right.
correspondence on it as far as timing. So
In there, so now that we have the facts about the timing of the requests, and the amount is currently $19,940. The Board of Selectmen had previously suggested $22,500. Anybody on the board wish to make a motion about how we deal with this request?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion. I'm just doing the math. Hold on 1 second.
Kim, I'll give you the account number.
Okay.
54950.
Correct.
54950.
54950.
Yeah.
The current
it's-
amount is $22,500.
I'm sorry, my brain. 5
54950.
950. Okay. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve $16,440 for account 54950, services to the community budget. And that dollar amount removes UCFS for $2,000 because they were after the deadline. And it removes the Brian Daigle Foundation of $1,500 because they were after the deadline.
So it's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded to reduce the, right now it's 22,500 currently in the budget. And so we're reducing it to 16,440, which accounts for all of the requests that were received prior to the end of January deadline.
And so it's a $6,060 cut.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yes.
Good.
Traditionally, we have funded the New London Homeless Hospitality Center because East Lyme citizens also make use of that facility. I don't understand why they did not submit an application. I hope that they were aware to have done that, but that to me seems to be a fairly constant need in the community. And in terms of the Thames Valley Council for Action, usually we've supported that. That supports Meals on Wheels, if I recall correctly. So I don't know if we can parse any of the money from the East Lyme Police Cadets. That seems like a $5,000 increase in what is going to that organization, and it seems to be a bit above what our other organizations are receiving.
Any other comments? I'm not familiar with the Brian Daigle Foundation or East Lyme Cadets. Is there anybody who could address what they do?
The Brian Daigle Foundation, they have a facility in town and they provide counseling for families or individuals that have suffered loss. I know they also do a lot of work for suicide prevention in town and have been an active member of the community.
We have a walk.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that in honor of Brian Daigle, or is that somebody else?
It is, yes.
It is.
And I know all the funds go to support the various therapy groups that they put on for community members.
Okay. And what about the East Lyme Police Cadets? Chief, is that something you know anything about you can address?
So that's a separate organization. We support the cadets, but it's not something I can speak on in regards to the finances or their needs.
Thank you. Anybody?
Scott, can I have one more thing about the Brian Daigle Foundation? Participated in many of their events. They're very active in the community, and the focus of their grant programs is on a need for a very important need to support people who have had children that suffered the same kind of event that Brian Daigle did. They are a very powerful community supported agency, and they their events are great, and I've been connected with them, and I would propose anything in my power that we not cut their funding, it got in late.
Yeah, so suicide prevention, right? Okay. Police cadets we don't know any details about. And can I just ask a question of
Yeah.
Kevin? Forgive me.
No worries.
When we allocate a number, say we choose the 16,440, does that get divided up only as per the numbers that are listed, or does the Board of Selectmen get some latitude to divide it up how they wish?
James, switch me to PIP, please. So in the document, the Board of Selectmen kind of policies and procedures over the service of the community line. Number 6, the Board of Selectmen shall vote on a final schedule of allocations that will be incorporated in the final budget for approval. So I think my thought process is the Board of Finance is going to come to an amount
And
tonight.
then the Board of Selectmen will decide exactly how it gets distributed.
The allocation of it.
So like if we do approve 16,440, you could go along with the cuts to the groups that didn't make the deadline, or you could do something else.
Yes, I believe that the discretions, once you decide an amount, then the discretion goes back to the Board of Selectmen on how it's allocated.
Okay, that's helpful to know. Thank you. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no, I was interrupting you. One point that I made last year, and I'll make again this year because they're requesting quite a bit of money, is Niantic Main Street, that they did receive a large ARPA grant, that they did not satisfy what was requested in the grant, that their attention remained focused on Niantic and did not include Flanders. I know that they do a lot for our town, but they also do a lot of fundraising on their own, and they have a lot of events that they fundraise for other nonprofits. And our community is made up of two sections of town, all known as East Lyme. However, I think we have some things that Flanders needs a little bit more attention, and Niantic Main Street was supposed to accommodate that.
Okay. I guess my view of this is that while every charity on here is worthy, and I don't know the quality of the work that any of them do, I'm afraid. Forgive me for that. We are in a budget crisis, and so being judicious about a charitable contribution seems like the smart thing to do. And so long as the Board of Selectmen has the discretion to move funds around in a more informed way than we can, I'm going to support the amendment. I'm going to support the change to 16,440.
That's fine.
Any other discussion? All right, it's been moved and seconded to reduce the 22,500 for item 54950 down to 16,440. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Barry can't vote. Barry can vote. Barry, are you voting aye or nay?
I'm going to vote aye on that also.
Okay, so then it's 6-0. It passes. Thank you. The next item I have was another discussion of the town hall security cameras. This was part of the capital project improvements budget. You have some updated information for us to share, Dan?
So I believe the other item, excuse me, the other item was the public safety servers. So I did a brief presentation, so they're both together, if that's all right.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that reminder.
And I just want to say, before I start, to thank you for giving me the opportunity to continue to discuss these items. They're very important for the town. I know it's a tough fiscal year, but having the ability to come back and rehash the details has been very helpful for me. Kevin, whenever you're ready. So I did a quick addendum here, just the evaluation of those last two pieces, and it ended up being a lot of numbers, so I figured it'd be better if I could get it up on the board for everybody to see. You can switch, thank you. So we've seen an overall increase of costs since the pandemic. I think that's been seen across all industries, not just the tech industry. In tech specifically, there's been a real shot, mostly starting in 2025, but late 2024, we've seen the prices of things exceed that even of other commodities. Most of that is driven by the new AI data centers. So the AI data centers demand a large number of servers, which means a lot of memory, a lot of hard drives, and they are willing to pay the premium, so it drives the price up for everybody else. So they can pay a high price, so they raise the price up for everything else. In doing the IT work and buying computer parts for 25 years, I've seen something in the last 2 years that I've never seen. Generally speaking, if I bought a laptop today, next year that laptop would be less expensive than it is today. If I bought a hard drive today, if I bought 1 terabyte hard drive today, next year that 1 terabyte hard drive would be cheaper. That trend has reversed, so we're not getting that same dip off of old technology. We're also facing, on top of the data center demand, we're facing increased manufacturing costs. There's a shortage of silver and gold for manufacturing. Helium is coming up now. It hasn't quite hit yet with the war in Iran, but we'll be feeling the effects of that. Helium is used in hard drives. They actually fill the empty space in the hard drives with helium for better cooling. And it's used in the processing of CPUs and the processors for cooling while they make the processors. So as the helium prices go up, we can expect chips, which the processors which have stayed pretty level or normal, to increase a slight bit there as well. The main increases up to this point have been in memory and hard drives.
Before you go on,
Certainly.
and if you have details on the flood in your deck, I'll wait. But I think I'm under the impression that this reinvestment in the data center was triggered a lot by the flood. Is that correct? The water intrusion that happened in the data center? Wasn't there something that happened in the data center?
We had a fire in the data center.
Fire.
Yeah, we did have a fire in the
Okay.
data center. Our UPS caught on fire. So we're on backup UPSs as of now. The server refurb was way before that happened. So we started planning this in October for the new servers.
So the only thing that was damaged in the fire were the UPSs?
Were the UPSs, yeah.
None of the servers were impacted
No,
by
so
the fire?
we're still waiting. Insurance is sending out a specialized cleaning company to come out and clean the inside of the servers, because after the old servers, because after their assessment, there's a buildup. I forget the name that they use for it, but there's a buildup of basically metallic burnt dust inside of them. So they're worried that over time that will degrade the components further, but the timing for this actually worked out pretty well because we're slated for a renewal anyway. So those machines would move to a backup or lab environment. I wanted to give this was just pulled off of a website that I use quite often, TrendForce. You can read quickly, but essentially even old memory, so the memory that we would use in our old machines and laptops that we would use to upgrade. So for much of what we did here, if we couldn't buy someone a new machine, we would refurb that machine and we'd add memory and we'd add a hard drive. Those numbers have increased so starkly that it would cost me nearly $800 to upgrade one of the old machines, and we made the decision that to get another year or two, $800 is not worth it. So we've decided to use that towards buying new machines. So all of these prices continue to stay high. It looks like at very least they'll stay high through 2026. But from most of what I've read, it will continue at least into 2027. You can shift. So this is an example of memory that we might buy for a server. These are upgrades. This is actually an upgrade that I bought a few times while I've been here for different servers. So as you can see, in the end of 2024, I hovered around $250 for this particular set of memory. As of March 2026, it's over $1,000. So that's a fourfold increase on just one component that goes into these. And you can switch, Kev. Thank you. This one, while not as stark in the increase, this has sort of been the backbone of technology pricing. So hard drives have always sort of been how you could measure how things were doing, right? So like I said, hard drives continually get larger. So a 1 terabyte drive today in a year should cost half, right? So they haven't quite doubled in price, but they haven't dropped in half. So we would expect this chart to go down over time, and it's actually gone up, which is really kind of stark. That's never happened in my career before. So this is the proposed server replacement for the PSB. It is 3 servers, 1 storage array, 2 storage switches, 2 data switches. So that's the servers and everything needed to connect them, as well as their back-end storage. There are a few other small components that go with it, the rack, a dedicated UPS just for this, and a few odds and ends. Those would be on the next one here, if you want to move forward, Kev. So if we could look at the pricing. So December 30th, 2025, the 3 servers and storage totaled $167,000. The pricing for that same equipment in March was $207,000, or almost $208,000. I was not able to get a full quote from our last meeting to now, but I did have a conversation to get an estimate. The quotes have traditionally been good from Dell on these very large contracts for 90 days. The quotes now are only good for 2 weeks. That's how long they'll honor the price. They won't honor it past that. So the additional costs here, the storage switches, the data switches, the rack, the actual install of the police next-gen software, that's done by next-gen, and in-rack dedicated UPS. So if you look at those 2 numbers I have for December 30th, again, it's March 2026. That number didn't increase too much. Those parts didn't seem to be affected all that much, so it went up about $4,000 for the additional costs. The grand total from December 30th is $240,000, and the grand total from March, that is an incorrect number. I'm sorry, I added those wrong. Kev, can you add those for me quick?
The 207,924 plus the 76.
Yeah.
116?
Yeah,
284, 140.
it is 284.
Oh, you just added 100K. 284, so just
284, I did, yeah, sorry about that. It was a bit of a crunch to get this done, sorry. So that number should be 284. So we went from 240 to 284 from December to March. I did have a call today with them. They were going to work on a new quote for me going forward this week. But what I am being told is to expect a 25% increase by July 1st when we're ready to order. So this is an estimate. These numbers may change, they may go down. So my final number came to $355,175. And I believe we had requested $366,000 total for all of this.
And we authorized 325. If, I don't know if this is even feasible, if you ordered today, it's 284.
Correct.
And if you order on July 1st, it's 355.
That's
I got that right?
speculative.
what you're thinking.
That's speculative, yeah.
So
I don't know.
Why not order today?
Well, I would have happily ordered in December. I just don't have the money. You
So-
can, sorry.
So instead of nickel and diming you
Sure.
on your quote,
Mhm.
what terrible thing will happen to the town if this is not approved?
Sure, okay, and we can switch to the,
Next slide.
yeah, next slide. So the current, I'll start with, in order to get to these numbers, we didn't just guess. So we worked very closely with Dell. We collected statistics and usage on those machines. You load a special application on all the servers and calculate our usage, and then they can use that usage to project our future usage. The current servers right now, there's 2, are running at 90% utilization.
And when you say utilization, are you talking CPU?
So
Are
it's-
you talking memory? Are you talking storage?
We're talking general overall IOPS. So the storage would be lower. We're not quite using, as far as space, and the space is reflected in the new ones. We're only using about 60% of the space on them. Memory, where you get the IOPS is the memory and the CPU are pretty well right at the top there. So they make up the majority of that 90% number. When these were put in, we worked for a long time, but I spoke with the VAR who put them in for the town, it's just Star Computers. They had recommended at the time doing a minimum of 3 servers, and there was budget constraints then as well. They were building out the police building and everything. So they went with 2. And at the time that the 2 servers were installed, 1 server could run everything, and the second one was for redundancy. The point that we're at now, we cannot run everything on one of the servers. So if one of the servers fails, we can make things that we turn off non-essential services, that sort of thing, and we can get the critical things to run on one of the servers, but we do not have a true redundant setup. We went to next gen for all the hardware and software requirements. This also includes the server licensing and the server CALs. Every person needs a license for that. The heavy hitters for for this going forward is next gen, and they have a database and an application. It's split amongst a number of servers, but as that application grows, it just uses more and more resources, and we do updates on that very regularly for security and for performance and that sort of thing. So the new server deployment will actually give us true redundancy. So it's an N+1 model. And what that means is N is the number of servers that you need to run plus 1. So with N+1 for us would be 3 servers, meaning we can run everything on the 2 servers. And when we need to do maintenance on one of them, we shift everything over, do maintenance on that one, shift it back. If one of those servers happens to fail, it goes offline, we need to take down to replace memory, anything like that, we're still at full capacity. This capacity plan was done, they generally do the capacity plans for 5 years. I asked them to do it for 6, just because I know that the budgeting process and money's tough to get, so I wanted to make sure we're covered for 6. This has, like we do with most equipment, the existing servers, we had a 5-year warranty, which expired in January. That was extended 1 year to bring us to the 6 years, so that if we start this project in the summer, we'll have 6 months of moving stuff off the old servers before they're not warranted anymore. We do have the option after the 5 years to extend that to 7 years if we need to keep this equipment. And this sort of setup, unless there's any major infrastructure changes, I don't see needing to replace before that 6 or 7 year mark. I think it truly would make it there.
So if your storage is at 60%, why are we buying a new storage area network? Why aren't we just buying servers?
So the storage area network, so that'll mean in the servers we don't have a lot of storage, just enough storage to run get those servers online and run the base OS on those. All of the storage will be done on a shared appliance. And what that grants us is all 3 of the servers themselves will connect to that storage. All storage for everything will live there, meaning even those virtual servers that we talk about, it can live on any of the 3 physical servers, but the data is always here. So right now, without shared storage, if one of the 2 primary servers fails at the PD, it's a shutdown event. So those machines shut down and it's automatic, but they power back up on the other server once that server realizes that the other one's offline. That results in downtime, and that's unplanned downtime. So that's dispatchers in the middle of a call, the server fails, they lose access to everything while that happens. When it's on shared storage, when one of those servers goes offline, the servers continue to run. There is no downtime whatsoever. That's the benefit of shared storage. So essentially, instead of putting all your hard drives and storage into individual servers and really packing those out with storage, they have minimal storage, and the storage lives in this separate array.
So if I'm understanding you, the town has no storage area network today?
Correct.
At all?
No. I can skip forward. Before I go forward, is there any further questions on the server side? Okay. So, and with that being said, I mean, I don't think that the 366 is too large, but again, I was told today to expect around $355,000. I'm more than willing to come down the $11,000, or that would be my recommendation, just based off what I'm telling. And if this numbers somehow come in much lower than that, obviously the money just gets returned to the general fund. And if it comes in over, then we have to make other cuts within this.
The 354,000 and 178, if I got that right?
Yeah, and again, that's just, that's
355, 175.
correct, yes.
And I believe the other night, the amount that we voted on was 325,000.
Correct.
So we would be restoring $30,175. Anybody want to entertain a motion about that?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to restore $30,175 to the Public Service Building server replacement. Any further discussion on this? So the total would be $355,175. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. You want to move on to Town Hall?
Can you give me that number again, 35?
$355,175. It is the public service.
I have that. What was
The amount is a $30,175 increase. Are you going to talk about the Town Hall cameras now?
I am, yes. If you're
Thank you.
Kevin, you can bring up that if you don't mind. Thank you, sir. So the Town Hall camera project, the original quote was on 11/28 of 25. The camera storage server was for $39,000. 12 cameras came in at $40,000. That gave us 90 days of storage for all the cameras and 1 year of storage for the ballot box alone. It's a little bit deceptive on the 12 cameras. I believe 5 of those cameras are actually quad cameras. So they go on the corners of the buildings and they have multiple cameras in them. So the real those are the 12 devices, but the actual camera number is closer to 18. So I asked for a requote yesterday to reduce the storage to 30 days for all cameras and 1 year for the ballot box, and the total came to $98,000. So it's gone up about $20,000 with the reduction since we got quoted in November. So regardless of what we do, if we move forward with this, there's going to have to be cuts made to get it back to the $70,000 that was requested. I've looked for, so part of that might be dropping off the 4-way cameras, which are quite expensive. That would get us back closer to the $70,000 amount that was requested. And I've also sent in for information on 2 different grants in the last 2 days, just to see if there's some money we can supplement there. But essentially, the $70,000 would get us a start here. Because that server is subject to what all the other servers are in increases, it's actually gone up $11,000, $12,000 since we even had our discussion. So I would like to keep it. And there was one point we had discussed about the server being here or doing it back at the public safety building. That was one of your questions that you had brought up, Kim. Whether the server lived here or there, the increased capacity would be needed on either end. So we would have to add a server at the public safety building, or we have to add it here, depending on the connection. So it would be required for the additional cameras. So my thinking would be to get the camera system started here and then get the cameras in the critical areas and then add as we go. That would be my, if you could skip one for me.
Are you able with this technology to use the leverage the storage in the storage area network to store the surveillance video?
So the surveillance video would be stored on Milestone servers. So they only support their storage networks for that sort of thing. And we could possibly, I could look at, if we were able to increase the storage area network that we were looking at. I think the pricing is going to come out pretty similar, but it's something I could definitely look at. So the Town Hall camera server need, the current system is woefully outdated. It's a home system. It's proven to be highly unreliable. So depending on when you go to look at it, it'll tell you for one incident that we had, it said it had recorded, almost 6 months of data. We go back through, there's not one video file to be found. So the video server is redone at that point. About 6 months ago, checked on the machine, and it had just set itself to factory defaults. I mean, it really is truly I think it was $800 home system that we have in here now. So some of the drivers for this, there was legislation put in place that requires 24/7, 365 coverage on the ballot box, and that needs to be retained for a year after any election. We've had the 2 town vehicles stolen from the lot here, 1 citizen's car stolen from the lot. With one of those, we were able to recover some video footage of the car leaving. With the other 2, we were not able to. There's been, most of the push has been from departments, and I think you heard the tax collector and town clerk. We get some rather upset people, and having those people on camera and, hopefully make them think twice about doing, something they would regret. So because of those concerns, we had last April, we had DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, came out, the CISA portion of DHS, and they did a town-wide assessment of physical and technological security. So among the recommendations for this building was some key card access, some separate access for employees and patrons. But one of the prime recommendations was to get CCTV in this building that was viewable by dispatch. So again, even with the system we have now, if it was functional, dispatch cannot see it. So it's limited to if somebody's in this building and goes down into a closet and looks at it. So the town hall interior and exterior were both spelled out in that report from DHS, and it's a confidential report, but I believe if you're interested in seeing it, I can certainly pass that along to you guys. It couldn't be made public, but it can be made to the board. Could we switch? This was just to give you an overview. This is just the top floor. The downstairs floor just had 1 camera in the water and sewer, I believe, and 1 in the hallway. But if you see on the corners there, so up at the top 7 and 11, those are 4-way cameras. Those are quite expensive. And I believe in the middle there, camera 9 is a 4-way camera. So there's places that we can sort of trim back on those to get that number back down. And that's what I have on the camera side. If anybody has any questions.
Right now, there's $70,000 in the capital projects budget for town hall cameras and supporting infrastructure. We had discussed potentially reducing that based on information that we're going to receive. Thoughts, questions?
Scott, can I just comment here? On the Capital Improvement Committee, we, I remember, spent several hours on this issue, and we reduced it from 80 to 70. And I think the feeling of the committee at that time was 70 was necessary for them to maintain the cameras as they had presented to us. So I would be in favor of keeping it at the 70,000 based upon the much discussion we had in the Capital Improvement Projects Committee.
Any other discussion?
Have you looked at alternative vendors? Like, have you gone through a process to ensure this is the lowest cost?
Yeah, so there is a number of vendors, and this may be something that we need to explore a little bit deeper, but we did decide as a town, and we've spoken with the chief about it, since we are invested in this milestone system and we have the licenses for the cameras, it makes the most sense to do something that fits within that and can utilize those licenses. Currently, all of the work at the PD, they just added a lot of cameras there, is being done by Sonatrol. The schools use Sonatrol, so we went with Sonatrol for continuity. I mean, they're here, they know the town, they know the buildings. That doesn't mean to say that we can't go out. I mean, this is something that would go out to bid before a final purchase anyhow.
We do have one more opportunity to talk about the final budget at our April 27th public hearing. So if I think what I just heard you say is that it is possible that working with other vendors, other than the Sonatrol, that you might get a lower number than the 96 that I think you just got for the current system. So we could either leave this be and trust you to try to send this out for different bids, or we could have a vote on a different number tonight. What is the feeling of the board members?
So Scott, and based upon the number of hours we went through this at the Capital Improvement Committee, I would suggest that we maintain it at 70,000 right now, and then on the contingency that you noted that if they can come in with another vendor or reduce his cost, it would be we'd be able to adjust it then.
I would be happy to get numbers for April 27th.
I think the largest problem, whether you're a business, a municipality, a healthcare organization, when you make large commitments to, say, like Sonatrol, right, and they know they have you, it becomes hard to manage that.
Sure.
On the flip side, from an operational standpoint and from a consistency standpoint in operations, you want to have one partner. But there needs, in my opinion, in my experience, there needs to be something that holds them accountable to the lowest cost possible. So whether it is you put them on notice and you go out to RFP, because frankly, the investment we have in the cameras everywhere, right? Okay, that is in large part at least half of the investment. And any surveillance company will use those cameras.
Oh, sure.
Right? Because the value of the surveillance system is the IT componentry, not the cameras. So the cost of swapping out the servers, the storage for their surveillance, right? We have the infrastructure already in place. Now the game and the challenge is the lowest cost point. So I would just encourage you, however you so choose, to put the squeeze on Sonatrol, to put them on notice, to go out and get other bids.
Certainly.
Because when you go out to get other bids, you're just pricing out software and surveillance storage.
Sure.
Hold them accountable. I think that's what, as a committee, we should be asking you to do, is just
Sure.
to hold your vendors to the lowest cost point possible and be creative in the ways that you do that.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I would be more than happy to get numbers. Much of my history before coming to the town, I worked for a value-added reseller, so
you know.
beating up vendors is something I'm well accustomed to. So we'll do the same here. So I'll put it on my calendar to come back with some more numbers on the 27th.
You seem way too nice, though. I think you need to take a heavy with you.
I think ideally we'd like to have it before the 27th,
Okay.
because at the 27th we have the public hearing, and it's potentially a late night meeting.
Sure.
And I think our appetite for a big presentation at that late night meeting is going to be on the low side.
Okay.
So if you can get that to us before, it'd be great. Say the 23rd.
23rd is fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion about the town hall cameras?
Just a question. You mentioned that you may have to pare down the four-way cameras.
Correct.
Okay. Would they all need to be removed, or would you still be able to maintain?
So I think the idea would be to look at whatever money that we end up with again, and we can, if we get more quotes, we see the best way we can use that money. And if it means that we put off those four-way cameras until we have more money, or perhaps to get a grant or something along those lines. But to be able to get the server here and start putting cameras in the critical areas, to me it would be to cover the parking lot, to cover a few of the interior offices, and to cover the ballot box, as those are required. So that would be my starting point. And then from there, we can add as many cameras really as we see fit. So I don't think that those cameras would go away. I think they would just be delayed.
And when you made your presentation initially, you had mentioned this is also in conjunction with the community center.
Correct.
That eventually they'll get cameras and that'll be hooked into the same system.
Yeah, so when we went to CIP, we had a plan for town hall cameras as well as a plan for community center cameras. In our cutting back, we decided to push off community center to later and get this one going for now.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for your time.
Next, we were hoping to hear from the library, and they did not submit a proposal, as far as I know, in terms of a presentation they wanted to make to us, unless you know otherwise.
Let me just check my email real quick. I don't.
They, on a call last night, told me they were going to try and get an email presentation to us, but I didn't see it come in.
Just give them one.
So, the next item is within the town budget. Because of the modest labor changes that we recommended, there may be some savings in insurance costs as well as FICA. Kevin, it's possible you could pull up those
Yep.
budget items. Barry, we're going to lose you temporarily.
So, just so. I don't see anything from Mr. Larson or, so I just want to
Thank you.
just check my email last time. Okay, all right, and then we're going to pull up services, stand by. Where were we?
Town hall, the town
And where-
government
General
budget.
government.
General government, gotcha, sorry.
And also,
I was thinking
focusing
capital.
on insurance costs on the basis of the changes that we made in staffing.
Correct, we can reduce 0.75 full-time equivalent for firemen, so because we reduced the firefighter budget by 3/4 of a firefighter by staggering them in those 3 days.
Right, because we have a July 1, a October 1, and a January 1 start of the 3 firefighters that we proposed.
Correct, let me just pull it up real quick. Health insurance analysis. Okay.
So is that within the fire department budget, or is it the town budget?
It's the 1054139 general government, I believe, so. We're gonna- Let me
4139.
just tell you what the cut's gonna be. 0.75 times firefighter.
1054139 is legal.
It's then
Personnel is
4142.
4142 is retirement and benefits.
Yep, perfect, that one. I'll just do the math here real quick.
And which item are you on? 52800?
Correct, yeah, we can cut that 28,156.
We could reduce to 28,000.
28,156, line number,
52800.
correct.
Is that already accounted for in the handout for tonight?
It is not, nope. So all the cuts that serves the community cut, the 6,000 is not in that handout. So what I'll do is, once we make this cut, if there's any others, we'll go through all the summary work paper and we can work through that.
What about the other items there, like workers' comp, FICA, and life insurance? Is that also going to be cuttable?
Workers' comp, no. But the one that is FICA and Medicare, once we're done with this cut, we can scroll to the bottom and see what that FICA amount is. So let me just put this cut in here real quick.
All right, so the
6.
under 1054142, which was retirement and benefits within the general fund, we are potentially able to reduce the current proposed budget of $3,264,436, reduced by 28,156, which gets us to
3,236,280.
Thank you for that. Anybody want to entertain a motion? Anybody want to make a motion to reduce the item 52800 within the retirement benefits budget from $3,264,436 to $3,236,280.
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Oh, aye.
6-0, it passes, thank you. And then Kevin, you said FICA we could also reduce, 52200.
Tell you in a second. So we should carry 1,038,000. So that'll be a reduction.
1,038,000, anything beyond 38,000, like
So-
any more numbers?
Let me just show how this the spreadsheet here. James, you can PIP it. So what I do is the budget is broken down. I break it down into these 1, 2, 3, half a dozen categories, and summarize all the above budget lines. So salaries would total $13,565,724, and this is literally just a multiple of that number. So
Okay, so the answer is on item 52200, FICA Medicare, we can go down by, it sounds like $9,000. Have I got that right?
let me just pull back up. 185. 1 million. Second. 1047977 minus 1038. Dot dot dot. It's a $9,977 cut.
So it's almost $10,000. Cool. Would anybody like to move that?
So moved. Second.
All right, moved and seconded to reduce 52200 within the 1054142 budget from 1,047,977 down to 1,038,000 even. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
6-0 passes. Thank you. Kevin, were there any other items within the general town budget that you mentioned to me earlier we should be addressing tonight based on the cuts we've already made?
Just trying to go through real quick. The one thing, there was correspondence from the Youth Family Service Director, Sarah Furman. I don't know if the board received that. It was an email to all of you.
She sent it to us through email,
Okay.
requesting that we restore the conference fees because it's required for their certification. And that goes to, let me go back, thank you for reminding me about that. I'll find it. Youth and Family Services is toward the bottom, 1054418. And the conferences, they had requested originally $1,820. Last week, we reduced that $1,820 to zero, based on it being required for certification. Anybody wish to move for us to restore it?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to restore item 53200 within the 1054418 Youth and Family Health Services budget of $1,820. Any discussion?
I would like to ask, are the certifications a requirement within the collective bargaining unit? Is that why we're putting them back into the budget? Because there's another mentality, which is that if you are in a chosen profession, maintaining your certification is your professional responsibility. So I'm just, we spent a lot of hours motioning and cutting line items from these budgets around training, education, travel related to training and education. And I just want to be clear that is it a requirement of the collective bargaining unit, or are we just doing it to honor the town professionals requiring certification? I think we need to be clear on it.
So I don't know the answer with specifics for the youth family service piece of it. I know the tax collector, the assessor, and the town clerk have certifications, but all those three are non-union, department heads. So that's not collective bargaining. I don't know what if there's state statutes over if they have to be certified or not, or what the rule is on that. I don't know if you could speak to that, Dan. Here, I'll give it while I look for that.
I think those certifications are required by statute, and that's why they were insistent that they had to
Okay,
restore
so
those.
required by statute as part of their job description, like what I'm trying to sort out is what is the town's commitment and contractual obligation, if it's written in job descriptions, if it's written in collective bargaining unit, or if we are just doing it as a matter of our town policy. There is a
No, I understand your
fine line
question.
here.
And I wouldn't want to say definitively unless I looked at the statutory requirement. But like for a town clerk, they have to be certified. So that is part of their job requirement statutorily for a town to have a certified.
For the
So-
town to have a certified person,
Right.
right? But I guess it becomes a question of whether or not it's on them as individuals to maintain their certification, or it's part of the agreement that the town will pay for that.
Yeah, I would, do you have some, do you have that? Okay.
So for UPSU, which is the administrative union for the town, so it's highway, town hall employees, and the park and rec ground crew. So pretty much everybody outside of the police union, fire union, and dispatch union, and then non-affiliated. So 15.6 of their union contract states that training and classes will be paid for by the employer to maintain their existing certifications.
Okay. And so then as a matter of equity, the town's, I'm gonna say maybe unofficial policy is that for any non-bargaining unit members, we're holding that in place for them as well as a matter of equity? Is that, I'm just
I
trying
think
to
that's
get-
fair. I think in the non-affiliated handbook, I think it says something with regards of the non-affiliates will have or exceed the benefits of the
Okay.
union
All right,
contracts.
so then we need to do this.
Yeah.
Well, I just think it's an
so, yeah.
important clarification, because
It's a good
we're
question.
cutting pennies here, right? So,
Yeah.
Pennies add up to dollars. Any other discussion?
Yes. In terms of that philosophy about supporting the continuing education for their certification, out of $100 million budget, we're not even talking 0.1%. And for pretty much all of these positions, those are required certifications that they need to have. And I don't think it's something that we need to spend a lot of time on. Just approve it.
That is the motion on the table to restore the $1,820 to the Youth and Family Health Services budget. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, 6-0 carries.
She,
What?
5-1, right? It was
Six.
6-0? Oh, okay. I thought he said no.
You said aye.
he said aye, it's
Okay.
just there's a
It
delay.
came late.
Yep, okay.
Yeah. Just to confirm, yes, I did say aye. Yes, I'm in favor.
Thank you, Barry.
Sorry, Barry.
Um,
Just trying to keep notes if the recording doesn't work.
Town can't buy you a hearing aid, Kevin. All right, let's go to cash capital.
Excuse me? I also remember from her correspondence that we received, she had something about the part-time employees. I think the summer employees. She was asking for some restoration of the part-time employee line. Somehow I remember that in the correspondence. This is for the youth and family services. Try to find it in my email.
Was that 51610? Rich?
Yes.
Yeah. 51620.
There's no.
Oh, wait, no. That's correct, 51610.
Seasonal, sporadic, interim. Okay. The amount was 86,645. Have I got that right? Right? I don't think that we made a cut. We left it.
You guys cut 13,000.
Where,
We're talking about
we're
13,000.
in 105-4418.
Yep.
Which item did we cut 13,000?
51610.
516.
Originally started at 100. Let's start. 100,234, and there was a cut for 13,589.
Yes, okay, now I see it, thank you. Board of Finance adjustments. And she's asking that we restore the 13,589 because it is required to support ongoing part-time seasonal help.
And here she had a letter that explained it. Full-time therapist, after-school program, preschool.
Well, is there a motion on the floor to readjust the part-time seasonal sporadic interim resources? Rich, do you want to make a motion?
Can we request Sarah to give a little bit more details about the part-time seasonal staffing?
Yes.
Because that,
She said she wasn't able to be here tonight due to
right,
some kind of a commitment. And I'm feeling uninformed, frankly. So maybe we could get more information about the details of it.
right, because in her letter, it's got information about the part-time therapist, which is more than part-time seasonal staff, the after-school program staff, and the preschool instructor. Raising hourly wages.
All right, so maybe we are asking for some information from IT that's due to us by April 23rd. We're asking for some information from the library, Kevin, that's due to us by April 23rd. And now we're asking for some information from Youth and Family Health Services. Let's make that also due to us by April 23rd.
If you'd like, I have some details for the Youth Family Service part-time labor line. Yeah, Pete. Okay, so
Can you
digging
make
in.
it larger, please?
Yes, sir. Hold on. So this is what we're looking at right here, guys, so you can all see it. Okay, so it's just emboldened so we can have it up there. So that's how you get to the 100,234. So open center supervisor, there's 2 of them from September to June with their rates. And then open center leaders, there's 5 of them, 3 at 1782, 2 at 1740, for approximately 39 weeks, and there's a counselor and then a preschool instructor.
Okay.
Is the counselor billing for their services? I'm assuming that's a mental health counselor?
So I am not sure about either of those questions.
So I don't want to go down the foot senior center footpath again. But this is another example. If that counselor is a mental health counselor,
Do you know what kind of counsel they're doing?
I believe it's a social worker,
I'm not
But
sure,
it's-
I'm not sure if,
so-
I don't know exactly what they're.
and it's shared with the senior center.
so this one I'm very comfortable. I may not, I guess, have all the details on billing for foot care, but I work in the mental health space now, and I can tell you that a mental health counselor that is a social worker, even if they're not licensed, but overseen by someone who is licensed, and we have insurance information for whomever that counselor is seeing, can be billable.
If they're billing, I'm not aware of them billing. So
So I think
it would
the
probably go
question
through
is-
my office, so I don't think they're billing.
Is it possible that these are youths under the age of 18 who are getting counseling without some type of parental consent?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't know.
Plus, it also
Outside of
includes
my
the senior
purview.
center.
So that's
funds.
okay if they don't have parental,
But that might be why they can't bill.
well, you can, well,
Outside of my-
I think we need some very specific details from this person on that budget.
So, just so I can, what kind of questions are we thinking for this? What does that counselor position do?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, what does the counselor do? I mean, that rate of $75 an hour, or, right, $75 an hour is how you would read that?
Yep, and it looks like we're budgeting for 8 hours a week and $75 an hour, times 52 weeks, so 31,000 for that counseling position.
So that's a low-end commercial billable rate for a mental health counselor. So if that, I don't know if that person is a W-2 employee of the town, if that is a 1099 employee of the town.
Do the services get used?
Yeah,
Yes. That's another great question.
very heavily.
I know there's a waiting list.
They could use
Yeah.
multiple
Mm-hmm.
counselors.
Okay.
But Kevin, I thought that part of the opiate grant went towards,
That's these
This
positions up
department?
here.
oh, okay.
There's a wellness prevention coordinator and then a social services caseworker. So there's
Okay.
these two positions. This one's half funded by a grant, or majority, so 19,000 by each service grant, and then I think it's 28,000 is then funded by, or potentially will be funded by opiate settlement funds. So there's those are two full-time positions, and then down there's that part-time / seasonal labor line.
Case management is also a billable service. I'm just saying, so if that is a social worker performing those duties,
Yeah, I can find the details of exactly what they do.
Yeah.
Not really.
All right, so maybe pending getting more information from the youth coordinator, maybe we leave things as they are today, and we get the information, we're seeking it by April 23rd, so that we can make adjustments when we meet on April 27th.
Scott?
Is that okay with you?
We also have a public hearing April 23rd at the community center,
Mhm.
so maybe the receipt of that information should be a little bit before that, maybe the 21st.
I have no objection to earlier arrival of the information, that sounds great.
Thank
Kevin?
you.
I will task with April 21st to have a response from the board.
Great, thanks.
So what I'll do is I will respond to that email, reply all, and request you reply all, so everyone gets a copy of the back and forth correspondence.
Mhm.
So it's the library, security cameras, and now youth services.
Yes. And anything else before we move to cash capital?
I guess I just have a general comment, and I know my numbers will be off because we cut and reduced things this evening. But I'm very concerned that we spent so much time on the town operations budget only to get coming into tonight, a 0.3% reduction in a budget that was a 10.7% increase year over year. We asked the Board of Ed, we gave them a target, a specific target, right, of I think it was 1.2 million or something in that neighborhood, which I think that's somewhere 1.75 to 2% reduction in their budget, if I did my math right. I am very concerned that we have not accomplished, I think, the goal in reducing our overall town budget, because we're still sitting at a mill rate increase of just shy of 6%. I don't think that we've accomplished our mission, or at least the hope that I had. And we've been cutting 1,000, couple thousand here. We're not balanced from where I sit.
How would you propose to proceed?
I think we need to go back through, and if we're not able to reduce more capital, department leaders aren't able to lower their non-salary operating costs. Let me put it this way. We gave the Board of Ed their cut. We did not give a goal.
We
to
did give a
our
goal,
towns.
we did give them a goal. At our initial budget proposal, we asked the Board of Ed to make a cut.
We did, but not on the town side.
We did both.
Well, then, did we meet that goal? Because maybe I don't.
Neither group met that goal. We cut the Board of Ed, and we have been going through and cutting the town budget in incremental ways. But neither group met that goal.
Did we vote on the target goal for cuts for the town? Because maybe I missed it in my notes.
No, it was, we made it a goal. I made a statement at the very first budget deliberations requesting that the town and that the Board of Ed make those cuts. There was no vote.
Okay. But to date, and again, this number's off, but our town department leaders are probably, I'm guessing, somewhere in the neighborhood of a 0.5% reduction based on budget that was submitted and cuts that were made. Because the packet for tonight I'm going off of shows that total town operations is now at a 10.7% increase. When we started the process, they were at 11.
So town operations, when the first selectman was, sorry, I know if I can hear myself echo, I'm not being picked up. So when I look at the budget, the department head submitted budget on the town side was $39,009,936, and we are down to 27 million plus this plus this.
No, I thought the proposed budget, at least the one that was in our black binders, was 27.9.
Correct. Hold on one sec. So, James, if you can swap me over for a second. So, currently where it stands, we're 102,213,000. So the general, if you take away the Board of Ed, the $67 million, all the other accounts were 39,009,000. If you add them up, they're at 36 million. So far the town side's had $2.8 million in cuts from the initial request. Not Board of Ed, not Board of Finance cuts, but first Selectmen cuts, then Board of Selectmen cuts, and now Board of Finance cuts. So the town's been cut
Right.
back.
Okay,
Yep.
so, but I guess the way I look at it is if I take this document, that was the first page in our black binder,
Correct.
what that showed at the time that the Board of Finance received the budgets,
Mhm.
the town operations budget was at $27,986,156.
That sounds accurate.
And that was an 11% year-over-year increase. I go to the handout tonight that I picked up over there.
Mhm.
We're at 10.7% for town operations, year-over-year change. Now granted, we've made some cuts, so maybe we're at 0.5. But we gave the Board of Ed, I'm just going off of percentages, not, because we know the Board of Ed's budget is way bigger than the town's, but if we look at it just by percentages, which I believe is a fair way to do it, I think the Board of Ed cut that we asked for was like 1.8-ish.
Yeah, 1.79% cut off.
1.79,
Yep.
okay. So when I look at that, we've made the ask of the Board of Ed, and it's TBD if they're going to hit that, but 1.79, and our town is at 0.5. Again, whether we cut it or we ask the town department leaders to make additional cuts, I am not comfortable as a finance, and I'm just communicating that. I think we need to be more aggressive with our cuts, because we're still sitting at a 5.78% mill increase based on the handout for tonight.
Good.
When the Board of Ed cuts were made, bringing them to a 4.42% increase, I took into account that their budget is about 2/3 of the town budget. So I inverted that and took 3/2 of 4.42, whether that's fiscally correct or mathematically correct or whatever. And I thought that the town increase should be about 6.6%. I agree with you that we are nowhere near that.
Okay.
And we've had opportunities to cut, but we've been presented with the demands that the positions that are being added are necessary positions. And I know last year we had asked departments to come back with proposed cuts, and the police and the fire and I think Public Works came back with cuts that they proposed that were significant cuts. And I agree with you, there needs to be some parity. If we're gonna be really hard on the schools, I think we need to take care of the town side. And that was requested by the schools as well.
I think it's fair.
Yep. How we get there, I'm in a quandary right now.
Well, maybe one thing that we can do is we can ask Kevin to send a note to town departments to take yet another look at their existing budget proposals and see if there are areas that they would support cutting, so that we can get toward this goal that both Kim and Rich have articulated. We do have one more evening of budget deliberations, as I said, on the 27th. If the board wishes to have another meeting beyond that, we can certainly make one.
From my perspective, I know no one wants to have to come here another night, but I feel like we have to have another meeting to get to the cuts that are needed to move the town where we need to.
So Kevin, if we were to issue this email to all the town departments again, asking for further cuts, what's the likely response?
There'll probably be some pushback. I think it would be better if that's the route we're gonna take, to give us a target. And then back into the target. So real quick, Dan, I printed the wrong one. Could you grab the new copy off the printer? Sorry. And then can you just pass it to the board when you come back? So what on that giant worksheet, there's every department here listed, and it breaks it out by general government, public safety, public works, culture and rec. He's gonna grab that and we can kind of go through and just real quick see what departments are kind of causing the pain, or I don't want to say pain, wrong word, the pressures on the budget, right? And where and we can dig in there.
But we need to ask all the departments, not just a selective group of departments. And we did give the town a goal, and the town didn't meet that goal, nor did the Board of Ed. We can give them this goal again. I'm not optimistic that they will meet the goal this time when they didn't the last time, but I'm willing to try again.
I email. Give this Dan.
Thank you. I mean, it's usually usually people respond to
Thank you.
having control over their own destiny as opposed to 6 people that are dabbling in budgets, making that decision for them.
All right, well, would anybody like to make a motion that we have another meeting, because none are currently scheduled between now and the April 23rd public hearing at the community center.
Yes.
But a meeting could be added, and we could ask the departments to re-examine their budgets with an eye toward a overall percent change from 2026 going up to, you said 6.6%?
Yes.
And if there's a motion and it's seconded and we vote on it, we will schedule a meeting.
So I would like to make a motion that we hold one additional budget meeting between now and
April 23rd is our
April
current
23rd.
next meeting at the community center.
So I make a motion that we convene one additional Board of Finance meeting to focus on budget reductions between tomorrow and the April 23rd.
Okay,
Second.
moved and seconded. Discussion? Are we going to be able to get a space to meet?
There's a little room, but we can if the board's still amenable to meet at 5:30. Just trying to look here. So the 21st, next Tuesday, I believe either planning or zoning has that at 7:30. So if we start at 5:30, you still have 2 hours 15 minutes roughly. Monday, possibly. I don't believe anyone's here Monday night.
So
Wednesday night, the board.
Today's the 8th.
Yep,
2 weeks from now is 22nd. So you're
correct.
talking 2 weeks from now is the 21st. That's the meeting date you're saying we might have some space?
I'm saying you could next Tuesday we could potentially have space. Next Wednesday, you have
That's
2
the-
hours.
Next Tuesday is the
14th.
14th.
You have Monday the 13th. The 15th, there's a Board of Select meeting, that doesn't start till 7. So there's an hour and a half. I'm just saying, there's some time to kind of squeeze in before the normal,
I would hate to limit us to 90 minutes, given the importance of it. And when is there a time that
I don't believe Monday's.
doesn't limit us to 90 minutes?
Monday's free probably.
I think Monday would be
The 13th?
And I'm not in town.
14th?
I'm in
Oh,
town.
okay. Well, 14th is still 2-hour time block. Is Gary behind me? Do you meet the 14th?
Yes, we meet the 14th at 7.
7? Okay. Scratch the 14th. Is, and zoning's the 16th, Gary?
Zoning's,
On Thursday?
yeah, Thursday the 16th.
Okay. Then the following Monday, the 20th? Does,
It works for me.
Yep. That's better for me.
okay.
Barry, April 20th, Monday. Sandra?
I don't have my calendar, but I could get back to someone.
All right.
Sandra, I can also do the Zoom link for you guys.
So,
Give me just 1 second here, Scott.
yep, well, so you could,
Okay,
you can do the 20th?
yes,
All right.
the 20th is okay with me as long as it's after 3 o'clock.
It would be 5:30.
Okay, 20th is okay for me.
All right, so there's potential we could have a meeting on April the 20th at 5:30 here at Town Hall. In order to get us to that meeting, we are requesting that each of the town departments re-examine their existing budget and see where cuts might be possible to get us to a goal of a 6.6% increase as compared to last year. Anybody want to move this?
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion?
Yes, Kevin?
I'd like. Oh, go ahead, Rich.
Okay. Can you translate that 6.6% to a number of dollars?
950,000? Nope, more than that. 975,000? Nope, more than that. 980,000?
I guess this is new math.
More than 985,000? Less than 995,000? 990,000 on the town side
To cut.
to cut.
Okay. And what's
Yep.
the total figure that it'll end up?
That number would push us to $26,876,652.
Okay. So, moved and seconded, and I believe now discussed.
Scott,
Secretary.
just one point here. When I look at that, and I understand trying to get a common cut across everybody is a good goal to have. But I think there's also a contingency on that, the difference between the performance of some of the departments. There have been, there's departments in the town where we are in a position, based upon the information that they gave us of their performance, that we would be almost, just to say it very bluntly, throwing good money after bad. And there are other departments in the town that are basically overperforming for the money that we're giving them. So as we go forth on this, not only do we look at a cut, but we have to temper that or set a contingency about not penalizing some of the departments that have been doing really, really good with the money that we've been giving them, and not penalizing them, and also not rewarding the departments that where it's a condition of good money after bad. So we had to put some contingency on that in terms of like the performance of the departments.
I don't know that we have metrics that would allow you to make those judgments.
Well, they are available, Rich, in terms of the presentations that we've received, and also in the annual reports that are available from the towns. And I think either the town, every presentation we've had, they've included some information in terms of, what their accomplishments are. So we do have that information.
And we would be subjectively applying the subjective assessments of each department to determine whether or not they perform their job with the highest quality.
We're not so much subjective. We've had some really good numbers on the departments that have come before us. I mean, in the back of the room, both the chief of fire and the chief of police have brought us some very good specific numbers. They are not subjective.
Okay.
I just think that that's a consideration that we take into account as we go forward looking at the budgets.
Right. So I've got no objection to having, when we have our discussion about the budget items that we will deliberate on April 20th, to you or anybody else on the board describing your understanding of the quality of the work they've done.
Thank you.
So, any further discussion on this motion? Moved and seconded to ask the town to reduce the budget by $990,000 by having all town department leaders evaluate what might be possible in their departments, and also having a meeting here at Town Hall on Monday, April 20th at 5:30 p.m. Any, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Motion carries 6-0. Okay. Cash capital.
Excuse me, Scott, before we get to that, there are a couple of line items that I don't see in this sheet. That we have a coastal resiliency fund that was developed as a high priority for bond rating, and also, since we're a coastal community, the importance of it as we go through changes in the weather. The other funds that we haven't talked about that would always used to be a line item is the open space fund. And last year I got a marginal token payment added back to that after that had been cut. This year it's cut out again, and the Coastal Resiliency Fund, it has barely any contribution to it. As important as cash capital for our debt spiral, I believe we need to be prepared for coastal resiliency, and we need to be prepared to be able to obtain open space so that prime pieces of property that would be useful for the town could be purchased. And undeveloped land has been shown by studies to be less of a tax burden on developed land, even though it adds to the grand list because of the services that you have to provide to that development. So I was wondering if we could discuss those two line items before going to cash capital, or if you wish to go cash capital and get that out of the way first. But I would like the discussion to occur tonight.
I'm fine to discuss it before we get to cash capital. In fact, I'm thinking, our decision about cash capital may be better made after we have the additional cuts that we might achieve on April 20th, and so might defer cash capital to that meeting anyhow.
Oh, okay.
But Coastal Resiliency Fund, can you point to where the line item is, Kevin, within the?
Yeah, sure. So the paper I passed out earlier, if you go to the expenditure piece, it's the second to last page. It is, can you see this real quick?
So not this last one you just
It is
handed us.
the one passed out in the packet, the thicker one, in that budget packet this evening.
With the staple?
Yep, second to last page. Go all the way to the end, and then flip one page, and you'll see it's in that contingency. So contingency has multiple contingencies within that.
Yeah, it's the very last page.
Yep.
It's item 1059800, contingency, coastal resiliency, and open space. Coastal resiliency, the current budget request is $2,500.
Yeah, just so the board has some perspective, Branford's trying to put $1 million in their coastal resiliency fund. So,
And coastal resiliency is basically a fund used to help restore our seacoast as weather causes erosion problems.
It's more than just reactive approach. There's also a proactive piece of, if you're able to build that up, use the money within that coastal resiliency fund to harden infrastructure. Take it over, Dan.
No. Just to there's a proactive and reactive component to it, and the coastal resiliency fund ideally would be used to harden the infrastructure. Certain kind of grasses that might be planted, storm basins, berms that might be created, things that will reduce the potential for damage if we have a coastal event. And then the other piece of it is, if we do have that event, having some funds to start the repairs from a coastal event. So it's reactive and proactive.
So last year, we budgeted $10,000. This year, the Board of Selectmen cut it from 5,000 to 2,500, and that's the proposal before the Board of Finance.
Yes.
And did you have a motion?
I would like to return it. I know we're going the opposite direction here, but to me, it's an important fund, and it's barely getting funded. And the first selectman had halved what it was supported last year. So I would like to return the 2,500 to take it to 5,000.
That's your motion?
I would like to make a motion to add 2,500 to that line.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded to add $2,500 to the Coastal Resiliency Fund 55918 within the contingency budget 1059800. Discussion.
May I ask, what town leader has, I guess, oversight and responsibility for this fund?
For the coastal resiliency fund.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, we have a hazard mitigation and coastal resiliency committee internally that's putting together a plan. So right now, if we were to spend any money, there would be an appropriation to the Board of Selectmen approved, then come to the Board of Finance to get it approved. So right now, it's just kind of almost like a reserve account we're holding.
And there's a committee, but there's not a town leader that staffs that committee? Because
It's staffed by the land use coordinator is the chair of that committee.
okay.
I report to that committee, the chief operating officer of the water department. There's a few more individuals in the land use office, the public works engineer. There's probably close to a dozen of us on that committee.
So,
From various disciplines within
yeah.
the town.
so I guess the question I have when we're budgeting for things like this, it seems nebulous that this is like on the last page of a list of departments and account codes without it being clearly in like a leader's oversight and purview. I guess I'm just asking if we would maybe do a better job managing this fund and advocating for this fund if the leadership over the fund was clear. Just a thought. It doesn't impact the dollar amount, but it seems like it's important, and if we're working on adding $2,500 to it, it doesn't sound like it's going to buy us much.
The original concern was really more from a perspective of our bond rating and making sure that we had, in fact, a coastal resiliency fund. That was really the beginning of the idea to have it.
It's a bond, it helps with our bond rating.
Yes, it helps our bond rating. So, so that was the beginning of it. Actually having that on the books is beneficial to the town. But then, just as important is, coming up with having that reserve, so when we do have an emergency, we have something to draw. Like when the the wall blew out at McCook's. You know, we really didn't have a fund to help us put that back together again.
Admit, Barry.
Oh.
Yeah, he lost the other connection. Sorry, Dan.
No. So, I mean, we do have the Hazard Mitigation Committee, which is advisory to the Board of Selectmen, if in planning on mitigating projects. But the reality of the situation is, if we have money in the Coastal Resiliency Fund, when something happens, at least we'll have some fund to turn to help us begin to repair the damage. That's probably the more practical reality of it.
Any other discussion? Moved and seconded to add $2,500 to the Coastal Resiliency Fund 55918 within budget item 1059800 contingency. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes. Nay.
I'm a no also. Barry, what are you, a no or a yes?
Yes, okay, so I just had to figure out the technology.
Yes or no, Barry?
Okay, yes.
Thank you. The motion
Okay.
passes 4-2.
So you wanted to add 2,500.
We're adding $2,500.
That now has to be cut from somewhere else, but
So
we'll work on it.
just so I have clear direction from the board, is that 2,500 adding to the $990,000 cut? So do I have to cut 992, 250? Okay, so it's 992 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for that pickup. You said open space contribution you also wanted to
Yes.
discuss?
Yes, that would be object 55920, open space contribution. Again, it's not really enough to make a difference or make a dent, but at least if we continue to contribute to this fund, eventually we can right our fiscal ship and get to be like places like Old Lyme and East Haddam, where they have funds that are available to them to purchase properties when they become available. With the hope in mind that open space costs less, even though it doesn't add to the grand list, but because it doesn't require services that developed land does.
Are you going to make a motion?
I will make a motion to at least make a token contribution of $500 to the open space fund.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to add $500 to item 55920 within the contingency fund budget 1059800. Discussion? All those in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Opposed?
No. Motion carries. $500 added. All right, unless people have other items on the town budget that they wish to address, I'm going to say that we pick up at our April 20th meeting with the adjustments proposed by town department leaders, and cut our deliberations for tonight. And we'll also do cash capital, we'll do that on the 20th after we've had those cuts, so that we are making a more informed decision about cash capital. Kevin, the second item under old business is 5-year budget outlook projection.
Just keeping that there, having no updates on that.
Great. Next item is new business, special appropriation, the $14,000 opioid settlement fund. This was distributed to board members before the meeting from Kevin Glenn, our police chief. You want to say anything about this? You don't have to.
I don't have a presentation prepared. I'm here to answer any questions. I think this is a project that speaks for itself. It's to secure the funding to start a bicycle unit, to purchase 4 bicycles completely outfitted with equipment, uniform the officers, train the officers, and utilize existing overtime that will potentially be cut between now and 2 weeks from now to deploy, especially in the summertime, late spring and early fall.
Thank you. So if we are to honor this request, someone needs to move to approve the appropriation of $14,000.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
So it's moved and seconded to approve, the appropriation of $14,000 of opioid settlement funds for the purposes of establishing the East Lyme Police Bicycle Unit. Any discussion?
Scott, can I just add something? Chief, thank you very much for the references you provided. I looked at the Seattle program and amazed at how successful it was, and it bodes well for how successful the program might be here in Israel. So thank you.
So you had something you want to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, because I feel like at one of our meetings, we reviewed this. Were there specific criteria in how we use the opioid settlement dollars?
There is, and attached in your emails was a legal opinion from our town attorney.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that.
Yep.
You had it reviewed.
Yep, so this was approved by town council. So anytime we use opiate funds or cannabis funds, we always run that by town council and get their approval.
Yeah. I happen to strongly favor the setup of a bicycle unit just for presence and visibility of the officers, so long as it can be done safely.
So I do have a question for the chief, because I know you are tight on staff. We've already talked about your future plans and how many officers it will take to get there. How does the creation of this unit, how are you allocating your officers to staff this unit, given all the other presentations that you made about the constraints?
Sure. So this unit will not pull from our traditional staffing in the patrol division or our detective division. Staffing the bicycle shifts will be on overtime. We currently and historically have overtime budgeted for foot patrol in specifically the Niantic downtown area. This allows us to continue with that, but on bicycles instead of foot patrol. Officers can cover more ground, can also access areas quicker and more safely on the bicycles, including Main Street, the parks, the parking lots, the boardwalk, the beach communities, as well as up north in the shopping districts. So this won't pull from our patrol staffing. It will be supplementing that staffing with overtime. Officers will also utilize the bicycle units for special events like the triathlon, the East Lyme Day, the light parade, and things like that.
Okay. So while I absolutely love and support this concept, I don't feel like I can vote on this, and I will abstain from this until we wrestle through the operating budget cuts, because this is coming at the cost of overtime. So I just want to be clear on my perspective on this.
Any other discussion?
I'm highly in favor of this. I strongly believe that it will increase community engagement and trust, as one of the bullet points mentioned. It provides a lot more public access to the officers than if they were in a vehicle or even if they were walking. I think it's good for the officers to be more a part of the community like this. And we did have bicycles in the old police station when I believe it was still a resident officer that was in charge of our police at that time. And speaking with the chief before our meeting, those bicycles did not make it over to the new police building, and they probably wouldn't cut today's standards anyway. And since this is funded by the opioid settlement, it's no cost to us. I believe the overtime is already in the officers' contracts and was slated for foot duty and can just be slid over to the bicycles.
Any other discussion?
Could the chief address this, like, so I'd like to understand, there's a lot of overtime in the budget. As we heard from our fire chief, some of it is just contractually required. Could you refresh us on what of your overtime budget is contractually obligated through the collective bargaining unit? And if, because I want to just be clear, if this bicycle unit staffing would come out of what's contractually obligated or somewhere else?
It would not come out of what's contractually obligated. Out of the roughly $500,000, it may be exactly $500,000 as it sits now after the last reduction, $35,000 is included in the foot patrol and parade overtime allocation. However, there is a need for general public safety. This isn't just a want in terms of what our residents ask for to see visible police officers. We can't celebrate East Lyme Day. We can't have the light parade. We can't have the triathlon without police coverage. And this is what funds those events. We can't close down roads in the town of East Lyme without police being paid to do so. So, you know, is it specifically in the officer's contract, the CBA? No, but it's funding that's needed to allow us to do our basic functions.
So if we if we fund this request using the opioid dollars, we're basically committing that we're not going to be able to make any cuts in the police overtime budget. I just want to make sure we're really clear on what we're voting on.
No, that doesn't lock anybody into not reducing any of the lines.
Okay.
I can explain further in the presentation in 2 weeks, but the short answer is no. It doesn't lock you into having the removing the ability to reduce the overtime line overall.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's very helpful.
Any other discussion? Motion on the table is to approve the appropriation of $14,000 of the opioid settlement funds for the purpose of establishing the East Lyme Police Bicycle Unit. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Next item of new business is a special appropriation of $79,009.68 for the nuclear safety emergency program grant. That is from the emergency management director, dated April 1 to the Board of Finance. We need a motion to approve this special appropriation to cover the cost of purchasing equipment for the Department of Emergency Management.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve a special appropriation of $79,009.68 to cover the cost of purchasing the listed equipment and services on the sheet for the Department of Emergency Management. This requires a town meeting. What does that mean?
Once it's approved by the Board of Selectmen next week will schedule a town meeting, and at the town meeting, then this will get approved officially, or not approved.
If you approve it, it'll be on our agenda.
So we're just step one in the approval of
Step
this
two.
equipment.
You step two.
We were step one, you're step two, then
You go,
You
it goes
step
back
three.
to you?
Yeah, then they set the meeting.
Yeah,
If
we have
it
the meeting.
exceeds a certain
That's the-
dollar value, it has to, by town charter, go to town meeting.
Got it. Okay, any discussion of this item?
Yeah, so anytime we buy equipment, any technology-related equipment, I would say oftentimes there are support and maintenance contracts that are needed to maintain this equipment. So I'm always curious with grants, like the grants are one-time things. So are there any items on this list that are going, you know, once we acquire this equipment through the grant, is then going to increase the town's operating budget because we're going to have support and maintenance or other contractual commitments to maintain the equipment?
And when I look at the, I don't know the answer to that, Kevin, but when I look at the individual items, there's salary, there's powered map updates, there's weatherproof outlets, there's a handheld computer, there's ham radio upgrades. Doesn't seem to me as if there's maintenance contracts required, but I don't know.
I don't see anything. There might be some minimal requirements, but I mean, the ham radio upgrades, that's so they can communicate in the event that, you know, cell phone towers go down. The only way to communicate at that point is ham radio communication. So it's really an essential mode of communication. They may have to be programmed when you get them, but after that, I think they just continue to work when you need them. One thing that's particularly important is the EOC building air damper controls. Last year and a half ago, we had serious brush fires at Rocky Neck, and you know, I encountered a police officer at the Henny Penny gas station, and they were very concerned about the smoke that was being drawn into the public safety complex. And so we tried to get someone over there that night to try to put some charcoal filtration or shut down the system, and it was cumbersome to do that because, you know, you had to maintain dispatch, which was in that building, and we really couldn't control the intake. So having controllable air dampers, so in that situation, we could seal off the air so that people could continue to work. So very, very important a piece of equipment, and I can't foresee that there would be any maintenance related to it beyond installing it. So.
Okay, just looking to make sure we don't end up with more cost in the budget. And so this grant was awarded July 1st of last year. So I'm assuming it's like a one-year grant that'll go through June 30th of this year?
So, I believe this is either the state or federal grant, so it operates at a slightly different time frame than us. The nuclear safety, yeah, I think this is the federal grant. So I think this has the 10-1 like fiscal year. But regardless, we get this every year. Last year in June we had a town meeting on this. Last year was $75,000. So every year it's between 60 and 80,000 roughly.
So the salary and fringe that is in this grant, how do you represent that in the budget? Does this grant offset and reduce what you carry in the budget?
No, but it is included in revenues. Let me see if this year we did. I don't know off the top of my head. Civil preparedness grant is not budgeted this year. So we're getting this grant this year. It's being recorded this year. It's not to say we're guaranteed this grant next year.
But you just said we get it every year.
We get it. We have gotten it every year.
Doesn't mean.
We have gotten it every year to this point.
Okay, so this is basically impacting the current fiscal year and will in no way impact next fiscal year.
Not negatively impact. The only impact would be possibly positive to offset use of fund balance.
So in the budget for fiscal '27, this salary you're carrying the full salary, not the salary offset by this grant.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of this special appropriation of $79,009.68 to cover the cost of the equipment for the Department of Emergency Management, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. So our next item on the agenda is executive session. And there's an item for us to discuss. However, we don't know how long the executive session is going to go for. So I want to give the public discussion item, which is to come after executive session. I'm going to suggest that we move that up to happen right now. Do I have to move it?
Yes, so moved.
Is there, it's moved and
Second.
seconded, thank you, to move public discussion item, agenda item number 9 to right now, before we go into executive session. Any discussion? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so public discussion. Any member of the public wish to come up and speak?
Hi, good evening. Gary Gaschel, Town Planner. I know you were talking general budget, and I missed public delegation, so my apologies for running late. Well, I have some handouts here regarding the budget, and of course, you know, as we heard earlier, there were some operational funds that were restored, and essentially, that's what I'm looking to do, is restore some operational funds to our budget. So,
Thank you.
but I also think I might bring some good news with all this talk about budgets being cut or having cut. I think my proposal here for a GIS analyst, we're looking to not add a position or employee, but what we're really looking to do is create efficiencies and save the town money. So in 2013, I provided an ROI study. I think that's very important in terms of that GIS position. And if you just fast forward to today and use today's numbers based on our salaries, and we're looking to save, what, a half an hour per employee, 17 employees. Now we have 200. So if we fully deploy GIS across the town, the way that it was envisioned, we could be up about $500,000 by now. It was we were in the red in a 3-year turnaround there. So it's something to consider. But essentially, what I'm really here for, besides that, is the $7,700 that was cut from the planning and inland wetlands budget. Essentially, that money is necessary. It was transportation funds. It was also training funds. And I would say that the transportation funds are critical in that I have to be able to do inspections for both the Inland Wetland Agency and the Planning Commission. Without those inspections, regulatory compliance would be near impossible. So as it relates to just being able to comply with what we're required to do and reduce our liabilities, our legal ones, those as it relates to land use, I think that $7,700 is critical for functioning. But I highly recommend you take a look at the investment of a GIS analyst. I was asking for $50,000 and it's been cut significantly down to about $5,000, which would allow us to continue to use interns, in which I'm grateful that we've been able to put money into that account to pay for the interns the last couple of years. Prior to that, we were unable to pay for interns, and they would have to volunteer without pay. And that program was also successful, as we've had a number of volunteers, interns come through my office. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to address them on your next special meeting that's coming up, because if I was not able to provide this to you tonight, I certainly would have done so at the next. I just will reiterate that, you know, we're one department, planning wetlands, but I work with building and zoning. And GIS is utilized throughout all of those departments as well. And I think with the investment in GIS, you'll be able to maybe find some efficiencies and cost savings town-wide. Yes, there's an expense, I understand that, but in order to do more with less. This is a proposal that I think it's worth looking at. So I'm happy to go back and refine numbers, update numbers, even improve on the study. I mean, certainly we could dive deeper into it, but our deployment with GIS has been pretty limited, and the cost of the software continues to increase annually, but we're trying to do the best we can with what we have as it relates to the deployment of that. And I think talking with Public Works and their department as it relates to GIS and their use of CAS software, it's a very similar mapping type of thing. We're on board with, by bringing a GIS analyst in-house, we're going to save money rather than having to go farm it out with Tie and Bond or some other vendor. But anyhow, that's for your edification. Enjoy the reading, and if you, like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Because we're in the public delegation section, we can't address the speakers, but we can take a look at what we've been given and if we wish to include it on the agenda for our discussions on April 20th. All right. Now I need a motion to move us into executive session.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded for the Board of Finance to go into executive session. We would ask members of the public to wait around if you want, but we don't know how long it's going to go. And we're going to go into a different office.
Why don't we go to the little conference room? It'll be more comfortable.
Fine.
Okay.
The smaller one.
Thank you. We have to vote.
Oh, yeah.
Moved and seconded for us to go into executive session. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we're in executive session. Okay. East Lyme Board of Finance, regular meeting, April 8th. We're out of executive session and back in our regular session. We've only got board comments to go. Any comments from board members? I just want to thank everybody once again for their engagement, for another long meeting of deliberations, and also their agreement to carefully go over the budget one more time on April the 20th. Entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.